This is going to be a fun little video for me. It's one I've been wanting to make for a long time. It's going to be one of a series of videos I'm going to make describing to you guys some of the things I find. For example, I find a lot of Civil War bullets. This is a 3-ring Minie Ball. You've heard me call them that. You hear other people call them that in their videos. And these are probably the most common bullet you're going to find from the American Civil War, which was fought between 1861 and 1865. Now, let's look at this and take that name apart piece by piece, because it's not a 3-ring Minie Ball. We call it that, but it's not really what it is. First of all, let's start with the ball part of it. Obviously, this isn't a ball. That's a ball, right? Looks like a marble that's round. Well, guess what? They're both balls. Ball is a military term for ammunition. Musket ball, round. A Minie Ball has to look exactly like this, or almost identical to this. It has to have these 3 rings, it has to have a hollow base, and be that shape. Now, 3 rings. Let's talk about that. See these 3 rings? They're not 3 rings. They are 3 grooves. And a groove and a ring are 2 totally different things when it comes to ammunition, and they have 2 totally different uses. This bullet here is a Sharps. This is also found from the American Civil War. This is fired out of a breech loader. This is the kind of bullet that you load, up close to your face, and it goes out the barrel. And it has rings. And a ring actually pokes out of the bullet. If you look real close, you can see these actually poke out. And the reason for that is so that when you fire this from the breech, it can go out the barrel, and those rings grab the rifling and make it spin. Back to the Minie Ball, the 3-ring Minie Ball. These 3 rings, grooves. The purpose of those grooves is to hold lubrication. Every one of these bullets was made into a cartridge, which was and I'll show this to you later if you want to see it, which is a paper cartridge which has a powder and the bullet, and everything's kind of right there, ready for the soldier to fire. But what they did is they put lubrication in here for the musket barrel, so that you could more easily load it. So these grooves are actually grooved out of the bullet so they can hold fat in there. So this is a 3-groove Minie Ball. Now let's talk about the Minie. That isn't a mini bullet, is it? I mean, this is a modern bullet. This is what we use now in the military in the United States. Look how small that is. Look how big that is. Now, we know this isn't a mini bullet. This is a Minie bullet. Minie is the inventor of the bullet. He was a French captain, I believe, who invented this style of bullet back in the 1850s. And in order to be a mini bullet or Minie bullet, it has to have 3 grooves and a hollow base. Those are 2 of the characteristics it must have to be a Minie bullet or Minie bullet. Alright, does that make sense? If you want to see some other videos about why it's this shape, I'll tell you. And if not, I'm going to show you some bullets here, and we're going to do a little test to see if you can figure out which ones are Minie bullets and which ones aren't. Are you ready? Come on over. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at these bullets, and what I want you to do is try to guess which ones you think are Minie Balls and which ones aren't. There's a couple tricky ones in there, I'm going to warn you, but I think you guys will figure it out. You ready? Eyes front. Okay, so this is our little collection of bullets from the American Civil War. Every one of these is from the Civil War. Now we know this is just a musket ball or musket round ball, because we just learned all about that. Let's put them over there. This was our test one that I showed you. Okay, this is a 3-ring Minie Ball or a 3-groove Minnieball. I'll let you call it either one. Okay, you can see it has a conical base like that. That's hollow, and it has 3 grooves. What about the rest? What about this one? What about this one? That has a conical base, doesn't it? What about this one? Well, let's look at them one by one. I'm going to tell you why they are or aren't Minie Balls. Ready? Minie Ball. We know that one, right? Let's just put that right there. We might need him. 3 grooves. Let's look at the base. Yep, it has a base just like that one. So that's a Minie Ball. But look how much smaller it is. Huh? Look at that. 2 different sizes. Let's look at this one. No grooves. But guess what? It has the base like a Minie Ball. So this is close to a mini ball. It's a muzzle loader, but because it has no rings, it isn't. And this is actually called an Enfield. This is a British bullet that was imported from Great Britain into the United States, and mostly used by Confederates, but not always. Let's look at this one. We already talked about this one, so you know. This has 2 rings, okay? Well, I guess it's really just 1 ring, which is a projection that actually sticks out the side of the bullet. Very hard to see here, but this is a breech loading bullet right here. So we know that's not a mini ball, and it has a solid base, or mostly solid base. How about this one? That has 3 grooves, just like those. Let's look at the base. No, look at that. That has a weird looking base, doesn't it? It's a triangle base. These are French bullets. These were actually imported from France. This one here has 3, but guess what? Those are rings. You might be able to see it better on this one. They actually stick out from the edge of the bullet. Those are actually rings. So we know this is a breech loading gun, which I'm going to explain to you a little bit later about the difference. We'll put them over there. They're both sharps, by the way. Alright, look at this one. Oh yeah, that looks like a mini, doesn't it? There's 3 grooves. Let's look at the base. No, that's a solid base. We know this is not a mini ball because it doesn't have that type of base. In fact, because it's solid, we know that this goes to a breech loading rifle and not a muzzle loading. Alright, so here's some more. Let's look at this. This only has 2 grooves, and those are true grooves. 2 true grooves. And has a flat, solid base. So we know that's not a mini ball. That's actually a Confederate bullet called a Wilkinson, and it was made at the Deaf, Dumb, and Crazy School in North Carolina, or something like that. This one, 2 grooves, has the right base. This is kind of the Confederate copy of a Minie Ball, and it's called a Richmond Gardner. It's not a true mini bullet, but it works the same way. How about this one? It's 3 grooves. Yep, has that base. This is a mini bullet. Let's put them over here. And one more. This has actually the correct type of base, but look at these gigantic rings that it has. We know that that's not a mini bullet because it has 2 rings. Okay, one last look at these mini balls. Big gigantic one. This is a 69 caliber mini ball. This was pretty common in the beginning of the war, not so much by the end. They were heavy to carry. This is a 58 caliber mini ball. This is like the average size. This was the most common bullet you're going to find from the American Civil War. This is a 54 caliber mini ball. It's a little bit smaller. And it was equally as deadly as the 58 and the 69, but it was smaller, so it was easier to carry and lighter. So I hope that gives you kind of an idea of what a 3-ring mini ball is, or a 3-groove Minie ball, and how they differ from each other, so that when you see somebody dig on YouTube, oh look, 3-ring mini ball, and it has 3 grooves or rings or whatever, you're going to know the difference. And you'll find that a lot of guys don't have any idea what they're talking about when they say, I found this bullet. And that's me sometimes too, because I don't know all of the bullets. I have a bunch, but just the ones I've found. You know, I don't have a tremendous collection. So that's it for the mini balls. You got your 3-groove Minie ball and your 3-ring mini ball that most diggers will call a 3-ring mini ball. You can call it either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's kind of like the big fight that you see going online. I get caught up in it all the time. Something called a sabot or a sabot on an artillery round. So let's do another video and let's talk about something a little bit different. Let's talk about the difference between breech loaders and muzzle loaders. Rifled and unrifled. What do you think?